Today we're going to watch a survival movie set in a future world, where a strange city was built for humans to live in. Around the city stood a strange wall that no human could cross. So what secret was actually hidden in this city? And why had the people here been trapped for 200 years? And why could they never leave? That's what we're about to find out. The story begins in a future world where the entire world has been completely destroyed. There isn't a single human being anywhere in sight. Through a voiceover, we learn that the world we're seeing now, in this devastated state, wasn't always like this. Just a few years earlier, there were human settlements in every corner of the world, and technology had become incredibly advanced. Every human had become extremely powerful, but with this power, people also became violent, constantly fighting and warring to prove their strength over one another. As a result, the world's condition gradually grew more dangerous, until a world war broke out across the entire planet. The most terrible war in history, fought with the world's most advanced technology. The nuclear bombs of that time were extremely powerful, and the war left the entire world in ruins. Billions of people were killed, and the radiation made Earth unfit for human life. The world became almost entirely empty of people. However, in a few places, small numbers of survivors managed to keep themselves alive. About 200 years after this event, we see a city called Chicago, now the only city left in the world where humans live. Its people built massive walls around the entire city just to live in peace. These weren't ordinary walls. They were extremely strong, built with highly advanced technology. Everyone in the city was forbidden from going beyond the walls. Every person had to remain inside at all times, and anyone who tried to cross them faced severe punishment. Chicago itself was extremely modern, with nearly everything run by technology. But the people wore about 5 types of clothing, each resembling a distinct kind of uniform, because the city's population was divided into 5 groups, known as factions. This division existed so that resources could be used in a balanced way and the population could stay under control. The first faction was abnegation, people who are completely selfless, helping others without any personal motive. They were mainly responsible for running the city on the government's behalf, and their clothing color was gray. The second faction was erudite, highly intelligent, educated people who handled the city's scientific and research work. Their clothing color was navy blue. The third faction was candor, very honest people who always told the truth. Their clothing was black and white. The fourth faction was amity, who mainly wore orange clothing. Their main work was agriculture, growing vegetables and fruit for the whole city. The fifth faction was dauntless, brave, strong people responsible for the city's military and security. This faction mainly followed the orders of abnegation and erudite, maintaining peace and discipline in the city according to their instructions. We then learn another rule of the city. When people turn 20, they can choose any faction they like. But to join their chosen faction, they first have to pass a special test proving they're truly worthy of that faction's way of life. After passing, they receive training in that faction, followed by one final test. If they pass that too, they're officially admitted. But if a person fails, they aren't admitted into any faction at all. Such people are called the factionless. In this city, factionless people have no value. They're expelled from society and forced to live like beggars for the rest of their lives. That's why nobody wants to end up factionless. There's also one more type of person in this city, the Divergent. These people are special because they possess the qualities of all 5 factions at once. Every trait of every faction exists within them. In other words, they're like superpowered individuals. We then meet a girl named Triss. Today, Triss is going to take the test to choose her faction. As she gets ready at home, her mother comes to her and asks, "Triss, are you nervous about your test?" Triss replies, "Not at all." Both Triss and her brother are taking the test today, which is why their mother is so anxious. She's afraid that if her children end up factionless, they'll spend their whole lives as beggars. She encourages Triss and wishes her good luck. Triss and her brother gather their courage and head off to take the test. When they arrive, they see many other boys and girls who have come for the same reason. Before the test begins, a woman tells them there's nothing to fear. The test will be conducted through virtual reality. Whatever they experience during the test may not be real, but it will feel completely real. She tells them to face whatever situation comes their way using their intelligence and ability, because only by succeeding can they go to the faction of their choice. Otherwise, they'll become factionless. The reason people are divided into factions is that the city has only so much food, water, and living space. Excluding factionless people means not having to provide for them. by assigning everyone to a single faction. Each person stays focused on one type of work, which keeps peace and discipline within every group. Because people only concern themselves with their own faction's work and don't think about the others, everyone performs their duties well, and peace is maintained. People work in an orderly way, doing only what they're told, which makes them easy to control and prevents conflict between individuals. The whole purpose of the city is to maintain peace and discipline, because it was exactly this kind of conflict among people that once escalated into the war that destroyed the world. Triss goes to a testing center, where a woman named Tori is waiting. Tori gives Triss a blue liquid to drink and hooks her up to a virtual reality device. As soon as Triss drinks the liquid and closes her eyes, she finds herself in a strange place surrounded by other girls just like her. Various events unfold before her through virtual reality, and her choices during these events will determine which faction she's suited for. At first, Triss is frightened by the sight of so many girls, but they all vanish almost instantly. A fierce dog then appears in front of her. She even sees a younger version of herself, a small child. The dog is about to attack the little girl, and Triss has only a split second to think about how to save her. Without hesitation, Triss jumps on the dog from behind, grabs it, and slams it to the ground, showing no fear at all. Then her eyes suddenly open. The test is complete. The results reveal that Triss is a Divergent. She doesn't just carry the traits of one faction, but the traits of many. She has intelligence, courage, strength, and the ability to handle any situation, along with a natural tendency to help others, meaning she's suited for nearly every faction. This became clear through her actions in the simulation. Even when confronted by a ferocious dog, she felt no fear, thought quickly about how to protect the girl, and acted with courage instead of hesitation. These are qualities found only in a Divergent. When Tori reviews Triss' results, she realizes Triss is truly Divergent. This visibly unsettles her, and she tells Triss, "I need to tell you something, and you must never repeat it to anyone. Your results came back as Divergent. If anyone asks about your test results today, you'll say there was a problem and no result came through. Don't tell anyone your results showed Divergent."
Can't tell anyone about this, not even your parents. As far as the world is concerned, you received an abnegation result because
Tell me what faction to choose. The test
didn't work on you.
Triss doesn't understand why Tori is asking her to hide this, but Tori offers no further explanation. Triss heads straight home. That night, her parents ask about her results, and she tells them her head was spinning during the test, so no result came through. She'll have to retake it in a few days. Triss' father, a member of the Abnegation faction, mentions that the Erudite faction has been growing increasingly shrewd and strict, steadily trying to expand its influence over the other factions, and that it may become the most powerful faction in the future. In saying this, he's really trying to help Triss understand which faction might be the right choice, since once she chooses, she won't be able to change it. So he explains the current standing of each faction to prepare her for the decision ahead. The next day is the choosing ceremony, when everyone selects their faction. Triss goes with her whole family. All 5 factions are represented, each with its leader present, since whoever chooses a faction must go and sit with that group. 5 white bowls sit before the crowd, each containing a different element representing a faction. One holds water, one holds earth, one holds burning coals, and the remaining 2 hold stones and glass. To choose a faction, each person must drop a bit of their blood into the bowl representing their choice. As everyone takes their turn, Triss watches, still troubled by yesterday's test results. When it's her turn, she walks straight up to the bowls and, without much hesitation, drops her blood into the bowl of burning coals, the symbol of the Dauntless faction. Her parents are stunned. They never imagined Triss would choose such a difficult and demanding path. Dauntless faction members need tremendous courage and strength, and recruits must pass through many grueling stages to become soldiers. But Dauntless had been Triss' favorite faction since childhood, since she always saw herself as courageous and strong. Her brother then chooses the Erudite faction, home to the city's educated and intellectual people. Once everyone has made their choice, they're taken off for training in their respective factions. Within the Dauntless faction, it turns out the group is split into 2 training divisions, one led by Eric, a fierce and powerful leader, and the other led by 4, who is equally courageous and strong. Triss ends up in 4's group, and training begins that same day. Right from day 1, though, Triss performs poorly, and within days her rank drops to the very bottom, leaving her deeply discouraged. One day, asks for her name, and she tells him it's Triss. She doesn't reveal her real name, wanting to leave her old identity behind and build a new one within Dauntless. Despite her poor performance, For senses that with a bit of guidance, she could really excel, so he decides to help her. Triss is thrilled by this, and, over the following days, teaches her various techniques. Still, during one match against a competitor, Triss gets badly hurt and can't land a single hit on her opponent. Proof she still has a long way to go. The loss leaves her humiliated and demoralized. But over these weeks, she's also made real friends within the group, who rally around her again and again to keep her spirits up, even taking her around different parts of the city to cheer her up. Together, they all get matching tattoos, which makes Triss very happy. The tattoos are done by none other than Tori, the same woman who had asked Triss to keep her Divergent results secret. Tori seems to be avoiding Triss quite noticeably, though Triss has no idea why. From the next day on, Triss starts waking up early to get extra training in, determined to become stronger. For continues coaching her, teaching her how to read opponents and use special techniques, and Triss thanks him for his help. That same day, another match takes place, this time between two girls, Christina and Molly. After a long, fierce fight, Christina lands blow after blow, and despite Molly's efforts to hold her ground, she ultimately loses. Afterward, Eric approaches Molly and asks, "That looked painful, didn't it? Need some help up?" When Molly nods, Eric extends a hand, pulls her up, then leads her straight to a high bridge and shoves her off it. Furious, he warns her, "If you lose again, I won't be holding on to you. I'll just throw you straight down." He adds, "Do you think we run this group for fun? Our time is valuable. We're constantly training capable people. If you don't have the courage and strength for this, why did you even join this faction? If you can't prove yourself, leave now and stop wasting our time." He then walks off, leaving her hanging there. Watching this unfold, Triss is horrified, and Eric's cruelty disgusts her. She confronts him, hurling harsh words at him, which angers him deeply. The next day, seeking revenge, Eric arranges a match between Triss and one of his strongest fighters, a boy named Peter, hoping to humiliate her publicly. Despite her best efforts, Triss is completely outmatched. Peter beats her so badly that she collapses, losing the fight. Seizing the opportunity, Eric uses her defeat as an excuse to expel her from the Dauntless faction. Triss is devastated by the news, but refuses to give up. The location where the fight took place is far from the main city, so the Dauntless members always travel there and back by train. But this time, they leave without her. Undeterred, Triss runs after the departing train with everything she has. Spots her from a distance, reaches out his hand, and pulls her aboard. He still believes in her and wants to keep her on his team, so he tells everyone that he personally brought her back. The next day, a competition is announced between Four's team and Eric's team, and it's the talk of the faction. The challenge involves finding a special flag equipped with a glowing light, hidden somewhere on a very tall tower, a location unknown to both teams. Whichever team finds the flag first wins. Combatants are allowed to shoot at each other during the game, but the bullets are non-lethal, meant only to slow opponents down, not seriously injure them. That night, the competition begins. Triss, sharp and courageous as always, wastes no time and starts climbing to higher ground, telling her teammates that from up high, they'll be able to spot the flag more easily. Following her lead, Four and the rest of the team start climbing too. Even though Four is terrified of heights, he pushes through and manages to follow Triss to a high vantage point. From there, they spot the flag in the distance, race toward it, and grab it, holding it up for everyone to see. Because they're the first to find it, their team wins the competition. The win boosts Triss' rank considerably, and even Eric, who once saw her as weak, is now impressed by her intelligence and courage, recognizing how valuable she could be to the Dauntless faction. His earlier resentment toward her fades away. The next morning, Triss' mother visits her quietly, wanting to discuss something important. She says, "I'm very worried about you, Triss. Tell me the truth. Did your test result really come back empty that day? That's never happened to anyone before. Some results should have come through. Are you hiding something from me?" Triss finally tells her mother the full truth, that she's actually Divergent. Her mother is frightened and insists Triss must never reveal this to anyone. When Triss asks whether being Divergent is good or bad, and why she has to keep it secret, her mother explains that Divergents are extraordinarily rare people who carry the qualities of all 5 factions, which makes her special, but also puts her in grave danger. Currently, all power in the city rests with the Erudite faction, highly educated, highly intelligent people who have begun hunting down and killing Divergents. Factionless people are allowed to remain in the city, but Divergents are eliminated entirely because they're considered the greatest threat to the city's order. Since they carry the strengths of all 5 factions, they can't be confined to a single faction's role, and their independent way of thinking makes them impossible to control the way everyone else is controlled. If allowed to remain, it's believed they could eventually band together and pose a serious threat to the other 5 factions, since with the combined courage, strength, and power of all factions within them, they could potentially overthrow the others and rule the city themselves. This is the real reason Divergents are hunted down and killed. Hearing all this, Triss becomes deeply afraid and resolves to be far more careful from now on. That day, during Dauntless training, Triss learns that thanks to her strong performance in the previous competition, she's been promoted from Stage 1 to Stage 2 of training. Stage 2 is entirely different, centered around proving herself through virtual reality simulations involving dangerous, terrifying scenarios that she must survive using intelligence and quick thinking. Her performance in these simulations will determine whether she remains in the faction. Triss is nervous about this, but Four reassures her. After many trainees complete their turns, it's finally Triss' turn. A special liquid is administered, and her eyes open inside the simulation. She's standing in a vast, empty field with an enormous wall in front of her, identical to the wall surrounding their own city. As she stands there, a swarm of crows suddenly descends and attacks her. Panicked, she stumbles into a nearby drainage ditch, but quickly steadies herself, reminding herself, "Don't be afraid. This isn't real, it's only your imagination. If you stay calm and brave, you can get through this."
This isn't real.
With that resolve, she moves forward into another simulated scenario, finding herself inside a massive glass box. Water begins pouring down from above, slowly filling the box, while her friends stand outside laughing at her. Looking at her reflection in the glass, she realizes it's thin enough to break with her bare hands. So she does exactly that, shattering the glass and escaping. Her eyes open again, and she's back in the real world. Triss' mind works differently from most people, sharp, unconventional, and quick to adapt. In the first scenario, she managed to recognize she was in a simulation and found the courage to push through. In the second, facing the rising water, she stayed focused on escaping and used her intelligence to break free almost immediately. Four, who had been observing the entire test, is stunned by how quickly Triss got through such a difficult simulation. He asks her, "How is this even possible? Do you have some kind of superpower? You're the first person in our group to complete a simulation this difficult in just 3 minutes." Triss tries to steer the conversation elsewhere, but Four presses further, asking about her original aptitude test result, the one that determines which faction someone belongs in. Triss deflects and tells him her results came back as abnegation, though Four remains unconvinced. Triss eventually slips away and goes straight to Tori, the woman who administered her original test. She asks Tori why she was told to hide her results that day, and why Tori helped her keep her Divergent status secret. Tori explains that when she was Triss' age, she had a younger brother she loved dearly. When he took his aptitude test, it turned out he too was Divergent. Just a few days later, he disappeared, and 4 days after that, his body was found somewhere in the city. Around the same time, the bodies of several other Divergents were discovered throughout the city as well. Tori came to understand that her brother had been killed specifically because he was Divergent. Since then, whenever her tests revealed someone to be Divergent, she made sure to warn them never to reveal it to anyone. The city's entire structure, Tori explains, was designed to prevent people from thinking freely. Everyone is meant to work strictly within their faction's role, unable to adapt their thinking to different situations. On top of that, when people are formally admitted into a faction, a special liquid is introduced into their bodies, which is what keeps them under control. But this liquid has no effect whatsoever on Divergents, which is exactly why the Erudite faction is hunting them down. Terrified by all this, Triss goes to seek help from her brother Caleb, who is now a member of the Erudite faction. While speaking with him, a woman named Janine, the leader of the Erudite faction, arrives and tells Triss, "If you ever need help with anything, come find me. And be careful of Divergents." Once Janine leaves, Triss finds a moment alone with Caleb and confides everything, her faction secrets, and the truth that she's Divergent, asking for his help and knowledge about what's really going on. But Caleb refuses, saying he won't act against his own faction and will only do what his superiors instruct.
Faction before blood. Yeah.
Heartbroken, Triss leaves. Just a short distance away, several people dressed in black suddenly ambush her, attempting to kidnap her and throw her into a deep pit. But months of training have made Triss a skilled fighter, and she manages to fend them off and overpower them. Pulling the mask off one attacker, she's shocked to discover it's her close friend Al. Devastated that someone so dear to her would try to kill her, she later learns Al wasn't truly trying to kill her. He was doing it to boost his own standing within the group. For then arrives and helps Triss escape. It becomes clear that For has fallen in love with Triss, and she has developed feelings for him too. Worried that her secret might be discovered, For takes her back to the simulation lab and injects her with the control liquid, instructing her, during every simulation from now on, only think like a Dauntless member would. Do exactly what a Dauntless person would do. Don't think about anything beyond that. He even joins her in the simulation himself to demonstrate the right way to respond. Together, they find themselves on an extremely high bridge. Triss tells him, "Don't be afraid, For, I know you're scared of heights, but this is just a simulation. We need to jump from here to move on to the next one." But For stops her, saying, "You're making a mistake, Triss. If you try to be clever here, you'll get flagged as erudite-minded and caught. You need to think only like Dauntless. Don't rely on your intelligence. Just do what's asked of you." He tells her they need to cross the bridge together, and this time, she follows his lead completely. They move through several more simulations this way, each one drawn from a different part of For's own life, with For coaching her on how to stay focused purely on Dauntless instincts. Eventually, they come face to face with a man named Marcus, the leader of the Abnegation faction, and Triss learns that Marcus is actually For's father. Even more surprising, Triss realizes that For is exactly like her. He too carries emotion, talent, courage, strength, and the ability to adapt his thinking to any situation. The combined strength of every faction exists within him as well. He, too, is divergent, though he's never told anyone. Realizing this, Triss embraces him, and at that same moment, they exit the simulation together. Looking outside, they see the erudite faction loading a mind control serum into a large vehicle. Triss goes on to complete several more tasks. So skillfully that no one suspects she's divergent, and she's ultimately admitted into the Dauntless faction, along with two close friends, a moment of real joy for all of them. Within days, though, Triss notices that every Dauntless member is being manipulated by the erudite faction, who are secretly implanting tracking devices into everyone's necks. This is part of a larger plan. Erudite intends to use the controlled Dauntless soldiers to wipe out the Abnegation faction, whose members have remained free-thinking and beyond Erudite's control for months, making them a serious threat to Erudite's plans. So the tracking devices are implanted, and soon after, Erudite orders the entire Dauntless faction to march on Abnegation territory and kill everyone there. The Dauntless soldiers, now under Erudite's control, comply and begin their assault. Triss and For are both present, but because they're divergent, the control serum has no effect on them. Erudite has been unable to bring them under control. Still, they pretend to be compliant in order to observe the situation unnoticed. Eric, however, grows suspicious and brings them directly to Janine. Upon seeing For, Janine immediately recognizes him as the son of Marcus, the Abnegation leader, and also realizes the tracking device isn't functioning properly in either of their bodies. She sends For off to a special lab to have a stronger serum administered, and orders her people to kill Triss, having confirmed she's divergent. As Janine's men move to kill Triss, her mother suddenly arrives and rescues her. Pulling her away as they try to escape together, Triss' mother is shot and dies on the spot. Meanwhile, the controlled Dauntless soldiers continue slaughtering nearly the entire Abnegation faction, including For's father. At the same time, For is injected with the special serum and falls fully under Janine's control. She orders him to kill Triss. When Triss confronts For to try to save him, he attacks her, fully under Erudite's control. But For has always had one weakness. He's never been able to kill Triss while looking into her eyes, and Triss knows this well. With great effort, she forces him to meet her gaze and tries desperately to help him find his own will again. Because he's divergent, it doesn't take long before he breaks free of the control. Free again, goes straight for Janine, intending to kill her. Janine is stunned to see that even her most advanced serum has no effect on him, and realizes he too is divergent. She attempts to kill him first, but Four turns the tables, injecting her instead, bringing Janine under his control. He then orders her to destroy the Erudite faction's entire tracking system, which she does without realizing the consequences, freeing everyone in the city from Erudite's control. When Janine regains her senses and realizes she's destroyed the very system she relied on, leaving her with no way to control anyone ever again, she becomes enraged and moves to kill Triss. But Triss strikes first, wounding and ultimately killing her. With that, the immediate danger passes. But Triss has lost her entire family, leaving her heartbroken. Just then, her brother Caleb appears, and the two share a tearful, joyful reunion. Even though their parents are gone, having her brother alive brings her a strange sense of peace, the greatest happiness she could ask for in that moment. Meanwhile, Four is equally overjoyed to find his father Marcus alive, having believed him dead. By this point, the Dauntless faction's rampage has left nearly half the city's population dead and much of the city itself in ruins. But Triss and Four reassure everyone that there's still hope. Through Janine's computer systems, they've discovered that other cities exist beyond their own, where survivors have begun to resettle. Among these, one city stands out, a city built specifically by and for divergence, where people of every kind live together freely, without anyone dictating orders and without rigid rules, a place where people can simply live their lives as they choose. The exact location of this divergent city remains unknown, so Triss, brother Caleb, and Four's father Marcus board a train and set off to find it, promising the remaining survivors that once they locate it, they'll bring everyone there. Until then, they'll all survive together. Finally, the story ends with the narrator thanking the viewers and asking them to like and subscribe to the channel to support his 3 days edit.